Here is something informative and inspiring. Women to Women. Every Thursday, a new guest and a new passion to inspire you. Your hostess, Carol Paz, interviews influential women of Northern Nevada. Your neighbors, your friends. These are the women who are making a difference in our community, from helping those in need to running your favorite local businesses. We give you their story, we show you their passion. Thursdays at 7 p.m., Channel 15 for Carson City and Gardnerville, Channel 3 in Reno, Sparks, Fernley, Fallon, and Lake Tahoe.
Good evening. Welcome to Women to Women. It's good to have you with us tonight. We have a very special lady, as you always are promised. But first, I'd like to introduce myself. I'm Carol Paz, your hostess, and we'd like to thank tonight's sponsors, carsonnow.org, which is the #1 place to go on the internet for the latest breaking news here in Carson City and for very specially featured stories. We'd also like to thank Apex Security Consulting Firm, who not only train but teach in the personal and corporate world of safety. We'd also like to thank the Nevada Appeal and the Record Courier for always being very supportive and features Women to Women. They always encourage us to shop locally and to look for those special books of coupons that all of us can use. So with that, let's turn to Kat Simmons, comedian extraordinaire. Okay, welcome, Kat.
Extraordinaire. Punctuated with that. Thank you.
You are most welcome. You are most welcome. Kat, you are the very first lady of the theater, lady of television, lady of kind of a very different entrepreneurship. It's nice to have you with us.
Oh, thank you.
We always ask our guests, if you are locally born, if you are Nevada born, which I am not, but a lot of our guests are, where do you come from?
Well, originally the Bay Area. I was born in Palo Alto, but moved to Reno when I was 9. My dad wanted to get us out of, that crime-laden Bay Area, so he moved us to Reno, where there was 24-hour-a-day gambling, drinking, and prostitution. So he wanted us in a safe family environment.
Safe environment.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
Okay, growing up in the San Francisco Bay Area is unique in and by itself, just because of its location, the locale of it, and during that period of time, probably when entrepreneurships and creative thinking out of the box is really one of its distinctive qualities. Did you sense that or feel that as a kid growing up there?
Not a bit, because I was only 9. So I wasn't there yet. I was in the fields riding my horse and picking plums. Yeah.
Okay.
Picking plums off the trees. So I didn't have an opportunity to really immerse myself in the arts because I was only 9.
Okay.
And,
so when you moved to Reno. How many, that's where the finalization, so to speak, of your high school years?
Yeah, I went through, I was, went 5th grade through college. So yeah, I graduated from University of Nevada, Reno, 78, woo!
Okay.
And still I had no clue I was going to be in the arts at that point in time.
Now,
I hadn't turned yet.
Okay, this is a question that I'm dying to ask. You are a comedian, and you are also many more things besides that. But this gift of comedic talent, of entertaining people with laughter, with stories, when did you sense, or when did someone else sense that was inside of you?
Well, when I was little, my mom said I probably did my first character. I'd love to do character work. And Carol Burnett was, of course, one of my absolute mentors, as was Lucille Ball. When I was little, I would put like a bandana on my head and I would blow up a balloon and I would tell everyone's fortunes with this balloon. So my mom, noticed I had a little gift for something. They used to make me come out in front of company and do these impersonations that I used to watch on the Sonny and Cher show. But still, it never dawned on me that I could do that because that was for other people.
Okay.
That was too frightening, and so I never did any theater or plays or anything, but I used it to make people comfortable. I just had a girl, one of my best girlfriends, Paula Pascucci from Reno, who sat in front of me in 7th grade, and to this day she still says, She had come from a Catholic school, and she transferred to my junior high school, and I used to just make her laugh every day. And I don't remember that.
Okay, but she does.
She does, and so.
She does. All right, when you went on to college, were you here in the Reno area for your college studies?
Yeah, I graduated from UNR.
Okay.
Yeah, University of Reno.
What did you graduate in?
Social services and corrections. And I told my dad, I said, I didn't really blow all that money because I do provide a social service, and when people heckle me, I correct them. So I didn't really, but I was too afraid to ever get on stage to audition for a play, because I started in theater before I did stand-up comedy. So I got my degree and moved out to Smith Valley, out in the middle of nowhere. And
kind of hid out for a while.
Well, kind of. It was kind of like a witness relocation program, living out in Smith Valley. But that marriage didn't last long, and I was divorced 2 years later. And I wrote myself, at the tender age of 24, I wrote myself a list of all the things I wanted to do that I hadn't done yet. And one of those things was audition for a play, and I did. And that
was your early bucket list.
That was my 24-year-old bucket list.
Yes.
So I auditioned for a play, and I got the lead, and that was the beginning of my theater career.
How did you overcome that inside fear, do you think? Because after the divorce, did that fear leave you? Did you come to understand, I have to make a living for myself?
Well, I'll tell you what. When I went to my then husband and I said, they're having auditions for "Don't Drink the Water," a Neil Simon play.
Right.
I would really love to audition for that. What do you think about that? And he said, I don't think that would be a good for our marriage. Good for our marriage? That I audition for a play and be in a play? Well, sadly, divorce isn't good for your marriage either. So I was really driven to audition for that play. And of course, that was all free. That was community theater. That was well before I started stand-up comedy. That was 6 years before I started stand-up.
And that was a major decision.
Huge.
That you had to come to very early in life.
Yeah, because it was like the real me started bubbling up. I got married, and I was a rancher's wife, and I was living behind this feedlot, and I just knew that there was something I was supposed to be doing that I wasn't. I didn't even know how to be myself yet. It takes us a long time to become who we're meant to be, right? They
very
say
much so.
The two most important days of your life, Carol, the day you're born and the day that you know why. And it took me a while to really start thinking.
What is my purpose?
Yeah.
Very much so. All right. So from divorce and an important different path that you're taking out, you're leaving kind of the comfort and the security of an environment that maybe it didn't nourish you the way you were hoping it would, but it gave you some stability there within yourself to know that this is not all that I want to do. And I don't happen to have a partner that understands or that is sympathetic to that. So I may have to do it on my own.
Yeah, because when you're doing that thing that you think that you cannot do, that you're so frightened of, you really need a supporter. You don't need
a critique.
Yeah, you need an ally.
Did you have children at the time?
No, I was very young. I got married. It's my first marriage. My first marriage was 22, right out of college. And I was married for 2 years. And then I moved back to Gardnerville from Smith Valley and started doing the theater and for 6 years.
Okay, so keep us on this roll. Now you have decided to try out. And from that point to, let's say, right up to the current, what have you been doing with this comedic talent?
Wow, you're going back a long ways here, because we're talking 26 years ago. If I could just make a comment about the shift from
sure can.
I was actually talked into doing a competition up at the Lakeside Inn, up at the lake.
Right.
And I was working for a dentist up at Round Hill, and every day I'd go by that marquee and it said stand-up comedy competition. And I'd go, oh, there's no way I could do that. That's really scary.
But you looked at it.
And my friends said, I'd already made my plans to go to LA and be in an acting conservatory or something and study with somebody. But then that stand-up comedy competition came, and my girlfriend said, oh, so you're going to go to LA and do this big thing, but you can't even do this thing up at Lake Tahoe. So she kind of she kind of pushed me a little bit.
Dared you.
Yeah, it was a dare, totally was. So I did the competition. There were 19 other people. It was for money. It wasn't an open mic night. It was an amateur night. It was a competition. And I quickly understood, being backstage with everybody with their 3x5 cards and you know, their knowingness about what they were doing, that I was really in the wrong place.
At the wrong time,
oh my
maybe.
gosh. But I did it, and I did okay. And some people came over after the show, and they said, "How long have you been doing stand-up comedy?" I said, "About 10 minutes." And they said, "Don't stop. Don't stop. You could be the next Carol Burnett. Don't stop." And they gave me a whole bunch of names and numbers to contact when I got to LA.
And you were in the right place at the right time.
And I was in LA a month later. And so that began my stand-up comedy career.
Okay.
And
I have to ask, because I know a lot of our viewers out there are thinking, what's it like to be a woman in stand-up comedy? Is there of course there's a development that takes place in you, but handling crowds, handling hecklers, handling people that want to hang on kind of to you, groupies sometimes, or men, all right, and or caustic, jealous women. There's a variety of personalities out there that you're facing.
You're making me scared. I think I'm going to quit. Well, you know, I don't have anybody hanging on me.
Okay.
I'm sure the paparazzi's outside right now. What's it like to be a woman? I am in a male-dominated business.
Definitely.
And
definitely.
Not so much as it was 26 years ago, and obviously not. I mean, Joan Rivers and Phyllis Diller, rest her soul, they really broke. You know, they broke that ground for us.
And Carol Burnett. Big time.
Well, you know, Carol she's not a stand-up comic. She's a comedian, and she's a character actress, but she didn't actually, you know, do stand-up comedy. So there's a difference there.
Definitely. And
I tend to be like her a lot. I mean, I love to do characters and sketches and all that kind of thing. So I do more than just stand-up comedy. But what I have found is that most women, when they start comedy, we really gravitate to our male energy because to protect ourselves, a lot of women will get very masculine on stage and very body and, you know, dress like a man and really push their punchlines. And I think over the years, it's become clear to me how strong I can be in my femininity and not have to be in my masculinity at all. But I look back at my early tapes and I was, wow, it's interesting because you really are in a perilous situation. And how do I handle hecklers? You know, it's interesting, and everybody can go for the, you know, the genitalia joke and shut people up, but I've sort of changed that around now, and I can do it and command the audience without having to be cruel or swear.
Good.
It's interesting what happens, like I'll just say, suppose there's usually it's a man, and I'll just put all the attention on him, and I'll just say, clearly, you didn't have enough attention as a child. You know, you weren't breastfed enough. I don't know what the problem was, but I see that it's very important to you to draw all this attention to yourself during my show. So let's just stop my show and let's talk for just a minute about what your needs are. And then they just go, you know, they have no idea what to say. I've handled it sort of, you know, gracefully. And knock on wood, that doesn't happen so much where I perform anymore. I mean, you get drunk people, and there's an old saying that you can never argue with a fool because they'll always beat you with experience. And when you have someone who's just drunk, you can't really do verbal combat. You just have to sort of manage, you know, and don't ignite the fire. You know, if I know somebody's in the front row and they really want to be a part of my show, I will just work the other side of the room and just sort of put them in a little bubble. So it's interesting.
And you get that experience by having those encounters. And it puts you kind of on the spot for the moment. And you have decided, I'm not going to do the verbal combat. Okay, I'm not going to use the cursing. I'm not going to use the ridicule or the real put-downs. I'm going to use logic. I'm going to use logic. And it's a logic, it's kind of reverse psychology on the person who is creating the heckling. It's interesting. You say that males heckle more than females.
Unless it's a drunk woman at a bachelorette party. They're the worst. Yes. But you know, men, you said you must have a lot of men that come up to you after the show. Well, that doesn't really happen because what happens when a man is on stage and women are in the audience looking up at this man, well, he's in command, he's powerful, he's handling a whole room full of souls. But when a woman's on stage, she's in power, she's in control, and it's not necessarily a masculine, feminine thing where a man would go, oh, look at her, she's so powerful. I want a piece of that action. So I don't have a lot of men that come up and like hit on me after show. I mean, I love when a man will come up and look me in the eyes and shake my hand. The women want to go have a cocktail with me, and the men respect me and shake my hand. Now I know that I haven't offended anyone. I was,
and they enjoyed.
Yes. So trying to have enough material that's, woman friendly and man friendly. I don't bash men.
No,
I do not. They're half of my audience. I mean, I certainly bag on them, but as much as the women.
Yeah, there's respect for your audience out there.
Well, yeah, I mean, they came
and they
to
can
see
tell
me.
that.
Yeah,
they can tell that, Kat. And in return, if they're really enjoying what's going on, they're going to give that respect back.
And I can see it in their eyes. I have men that'll come up to me, and this is only men that do this because they try to get me off my game. Sometimes I go, you better be funny. And that used to kind of jolt me a little bit, like I would feel a little defensive and threatened, and now I just put it right back and go, well, you better have a good sense of humor, because if you don't, I won't be funny.
And I see something else in your eyes that says, I want to get on to something else I'm doing that's not comedy necessarily. We'll be right back. Don't go away.
Apex SEF provides cutting-edge, hands-on training that effectively addresses today's threats of violence.
The Apex Stay Alive course teaches proven methods for personal protection and attack countermeasures that can be applied in any environment. In your home, at the workplace, or on campus, Apex will teach you the necessary skills to stay alive, including how to recognize and react to an active shooter scenario.
If you knew you had to fight for your life tomorrow, would you train today? Contact us now to sign up for a class in your region.
Are you looking for a healthier lifestyle? A more nutritious diet? Do you care about quality? If your answer is yes, or if you are just curious, come into Villa Basque Deli and Cafe right here in Carson City, Nevada. Discover fine Portuguese extra virgin olive oils, vintage balsamic vinegars, and a wide assortment of international health teas provided by distributor Carpa Nevada LLC. In addition to these terrific items, Villa Basque is also the home of Pete's famous Basque chorizo, handmade on the premises from Pete's secret family recipe. Satisfy your culinary curiosities. Don't delay.
A fire-adapted community is prepared to survive a wildfire with little or no firefighter assistance. To help prevent ignition by embers, remove dead and dying plants from around your home. Be sure to remove low-hanging branches and the flammable plants underneath your trees, also known as ladder fuels. Non-flammable plants and pathways create separation and help prevent fire from spreading to your home. Make it lean, clean, and green.
Visit livingwithfire.info for more tips to save your home.
Welcome back to the second half of our show, Women to Women. Again, I'm Carol Paz, your hostess, and we're here with Kat Simmons. And Kat has a really interesting background, but she's been a single mom for quite a long time. And our viewers out there, a lot of our women are single mothers raising children. Tell us a little bit about the ages of your children and how you manage this.
Well, my daughter is now 14 and my son is 19. And I was on the road before I had children. And shortly after I had them, I realized that traveling with my son and hiring a nanny and taking him in hotel rooms, I didn't want to do that. I just really didn't. I didn't want that. So I just made a commitment to stay home. And then that's when I branched out. I started producing the shows at the Carson Valley Inn for monthly for 10 years. And then 2 or 3 shows every year for the next 3 or 4 years after that. And I started teaching stand-up comedy classes.
Okay.
Which was wonderful, which I really love. People can check my website out and send me a message if you are interested. And I just started doing corporate stuff, which was the coup sort of leaving Los Angeles. When I had been doing stand-up for 6 years in Los Angeles and decided to come back to Gardnerville because I wanted to have the kids here. And it forced me into a different demographic with the corporates. But I just decided that, I wasn't going to get another chance to parent these kids. And I mean, I can't even leave my dog overnight, let alone my children.
That's right.
Although now that they're teenagers, I'm available for long runs. So I essentially stayed home, close to home for 16 years.
Okay, so you really had to prioritize, didn't you? And yet in making that decision that family came first, children came first, look at the creativity that came out of you. Yes.
Is that what you call it?
Yes, yes. You had to really explore.
Stress will do that too.
And say, okay, what can I do in the meantime as I'm raising these kids?
You parlay it, into different things. So, but about 3 years ago, I got a call from a friend of mine that has a review that she has on the road called Three Blonde Moms, and asked me if I wanted to be a part of the review. And I was looking at the calendar, looking at the kids, looking at the bank account, and I thought, I'm here, the money's there. I have to go. I have to get back to work, or I'm going to have to settle for one of those day jobs. And I didn't want to do that again. I really wanted to do what I loved. So I was so scared. But, their dad lives right here in Carson.
Okay.
Hello.
So they have a great relationship with their father.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Wonderful.
Yeah. And so I started working. Everyone lived, much to my dismay. The dogs, the fish, everyone was still alive when I got back. So it allowed me to really recapture so much of my passion for what I do. Anyway, so it was great that I got back to work on the road.
So let me ask you this then. Before we tackle some of the new things that you're doing now, was there any one event or any one time that was a biggie? That was a real biggie that started to open things up dramatically for you?
Oh, yeah, the E-Women Network event. I joined the E-Women Network in Reno.
All right.
I went on an all-women retreat, and I thought, this is going to be goofy. Everybody's like in their pajamas. I'm doing comedy in the dining room. But that...
A sleepover.
It was like that. It was like a pajama party.
Yeah.
But hey, they had the money. I went, and then I met all these lovely women in Reno, and then I started going to E-Women. And the story's too long, but suffice it to say that I entered a contest it was in 2009 in Dallas. It was it was an international idol contest. So it was singers, dancers, everything. And there were 10 people in the contest, and there were 3 very astute judges on stage. And
You were one of the 10.
I was one of the 10.
Okay.
And I think I went number 8 or 9, and I got 3 10s, 10, 10, 10. I won the thing. It's on my website, and that really opened up everything for me. I got home and I thought my ship had come in, and then I realized it was just a dinghy, and I had to keep on paddling. But that was a life-changing event for me. Yeah.
Wonderful, wonderful. Okay, now because our second segment of the show is a little bit shorter than the first, help us understand where you are now in your thinking and what you're doing. Is it the same thing, or have you again made an important new track?
I have stood at the turning point here in the last few years, and I realized, my audience. I know who my audience is. My audiences aren't necessarily the 20-something in the comedy clubs anymore. I can do those sets and I can pull them off, but is it really what makes my heart soar? Not so much. Working for a large group of women, a corporate event, or a cancer survivors group, or hospitals and children's events, where I get to really be not just funny, but I get to have a message and be inspirational, because I have a whole story behind this story that brought me to where I am. So it allows me that platform to, if you can make an audience cry and laugh in the same show, I like that a lot.
That's unique.
And touch them.
Yes.
And make them laugh, but also inspire them, touch them, speak to them, and really speak my truth, and not just have to go 2 guys walk into a bar and peel off some jokes. I've got some deeper work that I'm working towards right now, and it's exciting.
And is that changing you as a person, do you think?
Absolutely. I've never done an act. What I say on stage is just me. It's just me reporting. And so I'm really committed to being honest and being authentic and giving women permission to be exactly who they are. I talk at the end of my show about the light in your eyes. I ask everyone to make a promise to, when you go home, don't look at your wrinkles, don't look at your age spots, don't look at, any of that. Go look at the light in your eyes. You're born with it. You go out with it. You can't buy it. You can't Botox it. You can't get it over the counter. It's your light. And I still say that even when I'm working in the comedy club, even though it's not exactly, the place, but I don't care, because I really, I have that message to give, and I'm not going to stop.
Where are you working right now, coming up, and where are one of those conferences or one of these gatherings of women? What's next on the agenda?
Well, my next local event is up at the Improv, up at Harvey's, April 24th through the 28th.
Okay.
And then I will be also in Lincoln City, Oregon, Chinook Wins, which is a really fun gig, Comedy on the Coast, but that's before this will air, so you won't see that. But my next big women's event is in Fort Front Royal, Virginia. It's called Denim and Diamonds. And that's going to be a fun event. It's a gratitude appreciation party for a bunch of women who are friends of the hospital and volunteers. And so it's a way they get to pay them back. And then I get to be their prize.
I have a question. What do your kids think about all of this?
They don't pay it any mind. They don't even.
They don't.
No, they don't. You know, when I won that big contest, or if they see me once in a while on a TV show or something, I think they go, "Oh, that's cool." Or when it really happens is if we're out in public and one of their friends will see me and they'll go, "That's your mom?" And then they'll come out and go, "Mom, Frank said you were famous." I go, "Well, maybe in Gardnerville, but in the greater Carson Valley area, I'm famous." But I think they think it's cool because I remind them that I get to be home with them 98% of the time. And I tell them, because I want them to remember, I'm here for when you wake up, when you get off the bus, and I kiss you goodnight 98% of the time. And I do what I love. I want them to remember that their mother did what she loved. And in the process of that, also got to stay home and be their mom. I'm like, yeah, go girl. You know, I'm still in my house, and the arts have afforded me that miracle blessing to stay at home and still
Very much so.
Believe it myself.
Very much so.
Pinch me.
And when you take a look back and the challenges that you have faced, and I love the part where you say about the light in your eyes, because we are really to support and encourage each other. And that's the best that we can do in this world. This is the best that we can do, and that's what we're supposed to do, to encourage our families. And I think you've made a great effort, and I think you have made an impact on both your son and daughter. Not only that, they have a mother who is out there working. She remained single. She did not bring a new father into their life, okay? And they have a great relationship with their father. That's not easy to do, Kat. That's not easy to accomplish.
5 more years.
What is that, 5 more years?
5 more years, yeah. My daughter will graduate in 5 more years. And so,
okay.
Yeah, these next 5 years for my daughter Emma and my son John, I love you. Get a little lump in my throat. They're just really important.
Yes,
You know, they're just,
yes.
I don't get a do-over with parenting. I mean, I will be in the arts and doing comedy and speaking, and I'll be doing that until
that career can go on.
That'll go on.
But you only have your children for a certain number of years. Yes.
And they're just little, lumps of clay right now, and it's a scary time.
I want to say thank you so much for being with us tonight, Kat. It's a privilege and honor, and lots of originality. Thank you so much.
Thank you for having me.
And thank you to our sponsors, Vila Bass, Deli and Cafe, home of Pete's famous Bass chorizo, as well as Carpa Nevada, LLC. Importers of fine Portuguese olive oils, balsamic vinegar, and international teas. So I'm going to say goodnight to you now, along with Kat, and you're going to see part of her comedy routines coming up. Have a good evening. Good night.
Anyone married to a snorer? Oh, God, and I tried to meditate, I tried to detach, I tried to say thank you, God, for at least he's breathing. And he had the sleep apnea thing too. So every night I was like it was like a cliffhanger. It was like, make a commitment. Are you living or are you dying? What's it gonna be? You know what else they make are those little zappers. Have you seen those? He would go to bed and he'd put his little bracelet on, gives a little shock when you stop snoring. Anyway, so he would set it to 3, right? And as soon as he would fall asleep, which would be about 3 seconds, like Lori was talking about, what is that? It's like we can be in the middle of this huge emotional release with you guys, and it's like, I don't feel valued. I don't feel affirmed. I don't feel like you really love me when you don't come home for 6 years. No matter what you're crying about, in 3 seconds, he's out. It's like, I want to do that. What do you guys put yourself like in a chokehold or something? Whoa. Anyway, so as soon as he would fall asleep, I would reach over and turn that thing over to like a hair trigger 10. I'll tell you what, any loud vibrational noise under the covers would set that thing off. Can't spell them all